Well, hello, ladies and gents. Welcome today to a first impressions of something that I think we all knew was going to happen from the off. When we saw last year or the year before, whenever it was now, Gibson's big revamp, and it was very exciting, and they had some very cool tricks up their sleeve. One of the biggest of them all was the introduction of the Slash USA collection. We saw some acoustics, and of course we saw a plethora of different finishes for his USA Les Paul model, and I think everybody knew around that time that was introduced that this was going to happen. And I think everybody knew around that time that this was going to happen eventually. We were going to see an Epiphone version at some point, and I have to say my expectations for this were kind of what I just expect from Epiphone all the time. You know, you look to Gibson as the thing to aspire to, and the Epiphone is maybe for a lot of people the thing that is either an introduction to the brand, but you're still looking for that Gibson all the time. You still want to work towards that at some point. With this though, I think with the theme that it goes after, where it's obviously specifically for a certain player, it's got a very specific vibe to it, I actually think this could be all the Slash you ever need. Now that is obviously a subjective thing, and as I talk about a couple of the points that this guitar has, you can decide that for yourself. And if you want any more information about the full spec list of this Epiphone version and how it compares to its Gibson counterpart, you can find out all that full information on our website. However, there's a couple of standout things here that I think will be quite appealing to a lot of people who will maybe not necessarily consider this model from the off, but there may be a couple of things that draw you in. You still get a hard case with this, for example, which is previously only reserved for the very, very top end of Epiphone selections, or basically mid-level and above of Gibson. So that's quite a nice little point. The pickups in here are slightly different to the Seymour Duncans that we see in the USA guitar. These are Gibson's own custom Pro Buckers. Really nice sounding pickup, and as you'll have heard very briefly in the introduction, they clean up surprisingly well. And this is something that it's always been the kind of the weak point, the Achilles heel of less expensive guitars in the past are the electronics, and that's why most people tend to upgrade them pretty quickly when you get a less expensive guitar. This guitar has, I believe, the CTS pots and the orange drop capacitors in here, so the tone is really nice and linear all the way from 0 to 10. And when you do play with the volume, you notice a little bit of that clean-up sensibility that you get out of more expensive guitars. Let me show you, for example. I know that's not the reason people will buy this guitar, but it's important to know. So let me start with the cleaner sound of the guitar and bring it up to the overdriven sound that I had. I'm not touching the amp, not playing with any pedals. This is just from the guitar. Hopefully that can kind of give you an idea of what this guitar is capable of without having to do anything else with any other parts of your rig. And I always think that's one of the most important things to look for in any guitar, let alone one that costs sub £1,000, which is what this is. I think it's pretty impressive. So the range as it stands is basically mirroring exactly what that USA Gibson lineup has. You've got 5 different Les Paul finishes. There are a couple of acoustics as well, I believe, that we're not going to touch on today, but we've got this very cool November burst. We're also seeing a bunch of the other classic Les Paul finishes from Slash, the Anaconda burst, the Vermillion burst, the gorgeous Victoria gold top, and the most famous of all probably, the Appetite as well. So it's exactly a distillation of what they're doing in the USA selection, but just at a lower price point. And I think that's really nice. I do also think that the sort of heftier 50s style Les Paul neck profile that guitar is known to have, they've sort of carried it across here. It's a little bit slimmer. It is a little bit more accessible for perhaps more inexperienced guitarists, or if you just generally prefer a slightly thinner neck. This veers not quite as thin as a 60, but it's not quite as chunky and hefty as those 50s profiles are either. So it's a nice little sweet spot. In all, it's just a fantastic Les Paul, and that's exactly what the Gibson Slash model was from the off. It was just the Les Paul that people have been looking for ages, and it just so happened to have a great guitar player's name on it, with some exclusive colors as well. And that's exactly what you've got with Epiphone now. So if you weren't necessarily a big fan of those 59 outfit Epiphone guitars that we've featured recently on the channel, if you want something a little bit more unique, a little bit more visually striking, and with a couple of those little upgrades that make the Slash model what it is, you've now got that option as well. So I'm going to cut the waffle short, really, because I don't think you really want to hear about this guitar, you want to hear it itself. So let's delve in to a few more playing clips. Alright folks, I hope you've enjoyed this little first look at these new Epiphone slash guitars. I think they've done a really remarkable job, and that, you know, it's very easy to sit here and say that to you, but from my honest opinion, from my honest take, I've played a lot of these guitars, these Epiphones and Gibson guitars, and I think that what they're doing right now is they're just listening to what players have always wanted, and that's really, what more can you ask of a guitar company than that? If you were a fan of the previous Gibson models, but you maybe couldn't quite stretch to that budget, you've now got an option that ticks all those boxes pretty much for your perfect requirements. So if you want to find out more information about these Epiphone Les Paul slash collection guitars, you can do so by clicking the link in the description below and heading to our website, peachguitars.com. Everything will be live there. You can even pick your very own favorite guitar from the selection that we've got. You can pick the exact one by serial number with individual photos and weight information as well. And to make things even better, if you're not a fan of the usual finance arrangements, you can pick up one of these guitars on the much more simplistic Klarna with just 3 simple installments, and you can take one of these guitars home much more quickly than you thought you might have been able to. So there we are folks, I want to know what you think of this new Epiphone slash collection down in the comments below. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Whatever it is, tell me your thoughts down there. Hopefully though, the tones that you've heard in this video are impressive enough to veer you to our website. So if you want to pick one of these up for yourself, that is the place to do it. So thank you very much as always for watching, take good care, and I'll see you very soon. Bye bye.